Billy Ficca on drums, Richard Lloyd guitars and vocals, Tom Verlaine guitars and vocals, and Fred Smith on bass. Television. Formed in 1973 with a name inspired by former band member Richard Hell, a pun on the guru movement of the time, Tell-A-Vision, but also a nod to the dominant media form. Hell and Verlaine were teenage friends from Delaware who ran away to New York City to become artists. The band held long residencies at CBGB's and Max's in New York City. Their first single, Little Johnny Jewel, was released in 1975. With a style characterized by extended guitar solos, more influenced by jazz than the popular blues forms of the time, and art rock, lyrically surreal, urban poetic lyrics, Television would be influential for decades. Television's discography includes Marquee Moon in 1977, a follow-up with Adventure in 1978, and then a very long gap until a self-titled release in 1992. Join us today on The Mad Collectors as we dive deeply into the world of television.
Well, for golly,
here.
It's been some time. Do you want to tell them what happened?
Well, so many things happened. First, I had a complete meltdown of technology, and I spent a lot of time technologizing myself, and now we're back. And I think we probably bought a lot of music since we talked last. I mean, there's been a war.
Right. Which one?
There's been a lot. It's been a lot. There's a ceasefire. There's not. Yes. No. You know, it's
right.
Fine.
Well, I remember it a little differently. I remember me and you getting in our spacecraft about a year ago, and we're going off-world to find cheap records because that's what you got to do. Don't you judge us. That's what you got to do. You got to go off-world for good deals. So anyway, our spacecraft gets out past the gas giants, and then some rogue element, something, I don't know what it was, knocked us into Neptune's orbit. And then we're locked in with Triton. So then we're going retrograde with Triton for like months and months and months. But during all that time, it gave us a chance to plan. And we eventually found a way back. We had to make a deal with some time traveling folks, some guy with lots of patches on his sleeve, lots of patches and gloves and weapons. But he took us back to the year 1977. So we had to deal with that. What was going on in 1977, Ford?
So much. It seems like kind of reminiscent of right now. Gas problems. New York was falling apart. It's not the New York of today. Our story will begin /end/ circumnavigate the New York City area today. A lot of big records came out in 1977.
Let's hear about that. What were the charts? Take me.
Well, apparently, if you know anything about Western rock and roll for the last, 50 years, then you know there's a little record called Rumors by Fleetwood Mac that apparently set all kinds of records. I think I've heard it maybe once or twice. But that was like the biggest record known to man at that moment. And it was big in all the ways. It was produced big. It was labored over. There were drugs. There were relationships. It was a lot.
I'm glad you mentioned that one because it really is kind of like the format for a lot of what was happening in the 70s, which was like, whoo, the party's over. What happened?
Right.
Because Jackson Browne Running on Empty kind of spinning out the same vibe of like, we the party's been raging, but like, now we're waking up and things are messy.
Yes. Because a lot of those people were, they were entering, probably their 30s, I would say at that point, which is not exactly for a lot of folks, party town, or at least it was the time to like take stock, I guess. To your point. And then of course you do have the outliers, like I mean, Kiss put out Love Gun.
Yeah.
In the same year, which is like, no, the party is far from over, kids.
That's true.
As a matter of fact, it might
But
have just started.
Yeah. The landscape was changing, or the scenes were changing, because disco's rising up. That's where the party went. The party, the dance floor. And then there's progressive rock too. Oh my gosh,
Yes.
what Animals? What? Yes, probably had topographical.
Sure. I think like one of the Tales from something or other was in there, like Topographic Oceans. I don't know. It was something not correct at all. I forgot to look up which Yes record, but definitely Relayer, maybe. I don't know.
But those things inform the band that we're talking about today,
Yes.
Television, which rose up from the punk scene of New York, 1970.
Yes.
CBGBs, Maxes.
They the Ramones are probably what everybody knows is like New York punk rock. And they had put out, I think, their second record, Ramones Leave Home, beginning of 77, I think is in January, and then almost a month to the day, Television puts out Marquee Moon, their debut, which is kind of crazy, only in that they are like as polar opposite different as you could be in terms of everything about them, except maybe like the way they were presented, like the stark image on the cover and all that kind of fun stuff. Like that was probably the only thing that they seemingly had in common, and maybe like the fact that they were both playing, the punk scene, clubs and venues and things at the time.
Yeah, that punk is a loaded genre term because it means so many different things. Right. Like you're saying, the Ramones and Television are both in that category, but they couldn't be more different. The Ramones definitely had a band uniform, the black jackets and all that. And Television was kind of like the template for the modern indie rocker. Just like, I don't give a shit. It's got this shirt. It's got no logos on it. I got some khaki pants and just a generic haircut. The focus was on the music and specifically the guitar. The Television was pushing the guitars into different spaces than what people were typically hearing in the 70s. The 70s, like we alluded to earlier, were a big time for rock and progressive rock, which was definitely a world of Strats and Gibsons. But Tom Verlaine and Richard Lloyd, they're playing some different gear.
Yep, they definitely have. They became known for the Jazz Master. I think Lloyd was a big Strat guy, kind of always, even though in like the photos on the inside of the record, on the little splash there, he's definitely playing a Telecaster. But either way, definitely like single coil, like sharp, the whole angular sound of what was to come and to become post rock, if you will, in like the 90s and beyond, was definitely there and definitely already there, and it would inform so much music that came after. I think without them, at the end of the year you have Talking Heads 77 comes out. I kind of feel like you don't have that without this kind of precursor, which is like you said, it has more in common with many other genres than the punk thing, and definitely nothing in common with the giant rock that was around it. It's much more bare bones affair. Right. But it's definitely like you can't, it's kind of weird. It's like you can't see like the Slint and the Rodin and the Louisville, Kentucky thing of the 90s without kind of seeing this first. And that's weird because this is dropping like right in the middle of the first kind of wave of punk rock. Like post-punk hasn't even happened yet. But this was like post-punk before post-punk. Like they had already seen it.
Pre-punk was just barely cooked.
Right. Like they had already taken the time machine, gone around Neptune and come back.
Right, right. But you know, that's interesting you say that, because for me, like as a music listener and a music fan, like I had heard the bands that were that television influenced
Yep.
first.
Yep.
I was, big into Wilco, and you can't listen to Wilco, especially like the Sky Blue Sky era forward, without acknowledging television.
Right.
Nels Klein has drank from the well of Tom Verlaine and Richard Lloyd, for sure.
Absolutely.
The
Absolutely.
Shin, and Pavement. So much of like what I know about the indie rock of my college years stems from the influence of television. Tom and Richard,
Yep.
and
So
the
much
rhythm
of
section. Yeah.
yes.
I've been droning on about the guitars for so long, but really the rhythm section of television is pretty damn good too.
Yes. And I mean, and also couldn't be more different than your normal like rock. They were definitely not like Billy Ficca or Fica, depending. Is definitely not your normal drummer.
Right.
And it took me a while to kind of wrap my brain around whether or not it was like good or not. Like when I heard Marquee Moon for the first time, I was just kind of like, I don't know if my brain is ready to accept all of the information that's trying to be downloaded right now.
Sure.
Only because it's very like loose. It seems very loose and not organized as like a thought necessarily until you like give it another go around, and then you start realizing like, oh no, they are all very conscious of where they're going and what they're doing. And the parts are parts, and they are, they're laid out there and made in such a way that they all connect in their very important ways, in a very rhythmic sort of way. But they're very like, I think they were the first band that I heard that I really was like, oh, there's two guitars, they're panned kind of hard in sections, hard right and left, and like they're not doing the same thing, and the bass is not just following like the root note of everything. He's off in his own world, making music with the drummer, who is also not just locking in with one thing. It's like he's kind of making his own melodic sense happen, which is, I mean, that became sort of this thing that I still chase, and things that I write. Like, how do you make that happen? It seems like some sort of magic trick.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. So, I mean, television has such a small discography. That's kind of why I wanted to cover them on the show. And honestly, for many years, I only thought they had Marquee Moon. Like, yeah,
Right.
I did not realize that Adventure and the self-titled '90s release even existed until this summer. So I'm a half-baked fan at best. But but I mean, those other two releases, I've had a chance to dig into them since then, and they're really great. But why not dig into the albums themselves? There was one single, Little
Yep.
Johnny Jewel, that preceded the full lengths. And that
Right.
was actually the first television song I ever consciously heard.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Mike Watt covered it in 2001. He was doing a tour, and he was doing a lot of covers of like classic '70s punk stuff.
That's awesome.
And there was a Little Johnny Jewel was on the list. So
Yep.
that was my first spin into it. And after hearing that, I got on my iTunes. Remember iTunes? And downloaded Friction and the title track, Marquee Moon.
Right.
And that's a pretty good start, because it
Absolutely.
represented the punky, aggressive, angular chop version of the band, but also the floating, expansive, like, where are we going, cosmic
Right.
jazz version of the band.
Yeah. So here's the big question: was that the first version of the song Marquee Moon? If you heard it on iTunes, you probably heard like the long edit,
Right.
which is like there's like two versions, because on the original, it fades out after, it doesn't come back and stay for the last. I think it's like it's not that long. People will make this huge distinction about the two. It's not really that different, but it does create this world where the song becomes a giant loop, and like when you come back to the start, it starts fading out instead of giving you the rest of the song, and it kind of makes it seem like it goes on forever. Honestly, you're just like, oh right, like
I
this.
know what you're talking about. It's right around the 9-minute mark because
Yes.
I was listening because I know that there's two big guitar solos, and I think Richard does the first one and Tom does the second one. So I was
Yeah.
like in that big guitar solo thinking, is this the first one or the second one?
Right,
and then
right.
dives down, and then there's a clear off ramp that takes you to that second section.
Yeah, it says I'm looking here at the oldest one I have. It is 9 minutes 58 seconds. And
Right. That's
afterwards it becomes like 10:40 or something, 10:30ish or something like that. It's not that long, but it's just that last little bit, like when he starts the verse back over at the top, they start fading it out. And you're like, I remember like I was like, I heard that and I was just like, oh, I don't ever really need to hear the rest of this ever again. Like that. And I mean, this is the way it was known for a long time until I think there was like a tape found somewhere and they're like, you know, that there's still like, 45 seconds or a minute or whatever. And everybody's like, what? And then the CD versions that came out, I guess all started having that. And then it became like, that's like the version. But I don't really think that's the version. I think like it is a version. And I think probably Verlaine, before he passed, didn't really care about it.
So
that much.
Does the vinyl have a shorter edit then?
The original does.
The original vinyl.
I have way too many copies of this record. And I have one that is an original. And it does have the 9 minute 58 version. That's what I was looking at over here. Yeah, 9 minute 58 seconds is the original. I think you can find it now on like Apple Music. They have like the edit or whatever. And that's what it is.
Gotcha.
It's just a fun little piece of, I mean, it's something for people to bicker about on forums online incessantly about which version is better. It's like, there's so much talk about, oh, Verlaine really wanted it to go on for forever. I'm like, I think he probably did what he wanted to do at the time.
Right.
He probably made the record he wanted to make. I don't really think Verlaine was being told much what to do. It seems like he was a little bit like, no, we're going to do it like this, and we'll do it like that,
And that is probably why there are so few releases. I think that there is a great amount of intention to all of this songwriting and all of this recording. It seems very like coherent, put together.
Yeah, I think that like there's always a lot, like when you read about Marquee Moon as an album, people are like, oh, it didn't get this and they didn't do that and he didn't want this and he didn't want that. And to be honest, it's probably a lot of people who don't have any idea because they never even spoke to Tom Verlaine ever in their life, never even saw him in the flesh. But it's like when you look at like the credits for this record, it's like Andy Johns was the producer. It's like the guy, that's not a slouch. Like that guy did half of Led Zeppelin's catalog, Rolling Stones, Clapton, Faces. Like, I mean, he's all over the place. So it's like, I don't think he's going to attach his name to something he thought was terrible. They recorded it at a great studio. They were great players. I don't really think that much escaped them. It's like all the new versions, everybody's like always like, oh, is this how he wanted it to sound? It's like, I think the way it came out is probably how they wanted it to sound. Like, and you can revisit all that. But I think it's also safe to say that it's nothing got out that was like, ooh, man, I wish I could, take that back or whatever. I mean, more than you do whenever you make a record. Like, I think there's always moments when you make a record, you're like, I wish I could do that again, like 5 years later or whatever. But yeah, I don't think Marquee Moon was like a thorn in Verlaine's side.
Right. So, the interesting thing, like a lot of bands, they probably had a few years to write the material on this first album. And then the second one gets put together 8 months later. So it was that classic scenario, like band has a buzz and they immediately get sent back into the studio for a follow. And and I'll talk about adventure when we get there.
Right.
We'll try to stay on topic. It's gonna be hard.
We
Try to
always
stay on topic.
tangent. It's fine.
But so for Marquee Moon, we've already kind of dingled on the title track a little bit. But how about the opening track, See No Evil? To me, that's the most CBGB sounding thing in the catalog.
Yeah, I think See No Evil is amaze balls, as the kids used to say. I enjoy the fact that like it opens with like this very like very like we are a rock band, with one caveat, which is there is no like overdrive, like they weren't using like banks of pedals or whatever. That's just like the sound of a guitar turned up in a room. And most of, if not all of this record is just the sound of a band in a room playing, and that's it. And that's kind of the beauty of it. But See No Evil kind of introduces you to this thing that I don't know if anybody had ever really heard much prior, which is, left guitar is doing one thing, right guitar is doing another, bass down the middle. And I'm speaking of kind of how it's mixed. Bass is right down the middle doing its thing, and drums are like embellishing the whole thing. Like it just, and then they lock in and then they let it go, and they lock in and they let it go. And it's like television in a little capsule. Like this is like, this is the rest of what we're going to do just in miniature.
Yeah.
It's like a statement of purpose almost.
Not just the rest of what they're going to do, but the rest of what so many bands. Right. I mean, that was like the Sonic Youth recipe when I discovered them, like during the washing machine era. It was so much about like little tight, concise punk song, and then like stretch into the
all you gotta do is listen to the Diamond C, and you're like,
yeah,
there you go.
I mean, there would be no Diamond C without this television record, these television records.
I mean, Lee Ronaldo is a very obsessed television fan.
Yeah. And many are. And they're a lot like the Velvet Underground in the sense that like everybody that was into them started a band.
Right.
It was or the Minutemen. Yeah. I mean, everybody that like, they weren't a household name or like a top 40 act, but everybody that got into it made that their life.
Yep.
Like this Absolutely. Is what I'm So the second track, Venus, that one does a lot of what you're speaking about, the guitar counterpoint or counter rhythm thing.
Yeah.
It's not just like twin guitar harmonies like doing the but also like rhythm guitar over here and then a different rhythm, a chop over here, just different things. But amazing stuff. It's almost there's almost like a Sweet Child of Mine type of hook going on here.
Yes.
Like, oh, you're taking me
so
there.
Much in Venus. It's like just so weird. Like the lyrics are so weird. Like you can't actually fall into the arms of the Venus de Milo because she has no arms. Like I've heard stories about that possibly being about. I think Venus is the one about being on acid in New York, at least partially, or like the moments after like you've kind of come down, especially like 77 New York. That's a different New York, kids. Like, it ain't like today's New York. But like
Blackout, Son of Sam, good times.
Right. It's craziness. But yeah, it's like got those crazy like call and response vocals where he's like, how do you feel, or did you feel low, and like that kind of like attitude sort of, which is kind of like, I don't know, is leading up to like part of what I feel like in this record is like there's like these weird like 50s 60s like what we consider oldies now, but like Motown-y, like Ronnie Spector sort of influences in there that are still that are prevalent in the Ramones obviously, but like it's throughout the punk world, and it's in here. It's just they're buried under layers of weird art.
Right.
Like
That
Jackson
was
Pollock made those
yeah,
records.
definitely. That's a common thread throughout the initial punk ethos, and that is like, hey, 50s rock, simple to the point. Woodstock was a bad idea. It's like
Right.
once you get all into the fucking Moog solos and all
Right.
that and flute, nah,
Yeah. It's like,
like stripping it back and like
yeah,
just
yeah.
taking all the clothes off of rock and roll and seeing what's under there.
Right.
Little naked Chuck Berry. That's what it was.
Oh,
But
that's my new
but
band
yeah,
name.
I hear that 50 sound all over the place.
Yes.
And skip ahead a few tracks. What's the 50s ballad on this one? Probably Marquee or Guiding Light.
Guiding Light. Yep.
Guiding Light.
Yep. I
That
feel
to me
like
like Tom
yeah,
wanted. He seemed like a cool kid, but I think ultimately he just wanted to go to the prom.
definitely.
Like I know he wanted to be the cool kid smoking cigarettes in the back of the room, but he just wanted to go to the prom
Right.
and be like
with Patti Smith.
with Patti Smith.
I mean, who doesn't want to go to the prom with Patti Smith? Come on.
Yeah. But yeah, there's that thing. There's like a real genuine affection for like the old school like 50s
Right.
doo-wop soul that thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think it's
In addition to the jazz elements.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very cool. I mean, I think by the time you get to again skipping ahead, by the time you get to Torn Curtain, which will lead into Adventure 2. I think by the time you get to Torn Curtain, you really start to hear like, and this is something that's always like fascinated me when a record ends with what seems like maybe the last song that the band wrote before they recorded. Like the newest thing is the last thing, kind of leading into like, like you said, 8 months later, they're in the studio again. Because they've obviously had a little bit of time to write these songs and probably worked on them for a while. But like Torn Curtain is like that. I feel like that's where the mystery level goes. I know Marquee Moon always gets the like hype, but like Torn Curtain is that's a dark song.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's just dark. Like the chords are dark. The lyrics are sort of like you're like, what are we talking? Are we talking about like domestic abuse? Like what is happening?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
so
that's I've got some notes on that one. Fancy intro. Is that the one with like the theremin sounds?
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So it's got these chords, ominous, epic.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like you're looking at the horizon while like a sunrise you don't want to happen is about to happen, which sounds super esoteric, but that's kind of how it feels. Like there's something there's something coming, and you do not want to see it. Like,
but here's how's this for esoteric? I have 1 minute 53 seconds template for OK Computer.
Oh yeah, there you go. I mean, yes, absolutely.
3 minutes and 48 seconds.
There's no doubt Radiohead is all about some television.
Right. But no, yeah, that one definitely. I kind of made notes. It looks like every minute there is like a guitar statement. At 3:48, there's some out guitar. At 4:20, there's some meow guitar. I don't know what that means, but
yes, yeah.
Okay. And then 5:22, we got a standardish guitar solo in the fade out.
Yes. And it's kind of cool, just as an aside on this record, if you look at the liner notes, they tell you who's doing the guitar solos when, which is like, who does that?
That's a little different.
I mean, except for like, I think the only band I saw that did that I know of is Slayer.
Right.
Like they would tell you which one was Jeff Hanneman and which one was like Kerry King. Like,
yeah.
But nobody else is like, this is when the solo I did happened, or this is Bobby Joe over here. It's like, no, like you just accept that the guitar solo is happening.
Right.
But they were like very deliberate about like, this is Tom's voice, this is Richard's voice, and like, which is really cool.
It is. It speaks to a little bit of the schism in the band, though, because I mean,
right.
I didn't read too deeply into it, but I know that there was always a little bit of like push and pull for like Richard to get credit for his contributions.
Yes, yeah. I think it's an age old tale in the music world, but I think that at some point, probably all of them were like, can't we have more? Like, didn't we input more here or there or whatever, and like, nobody was there while they're crafting these songs. So like, I don't know. I wasn't at television practice. If I could go back in time, I would love to be, but like, or maybe not. Maybe that's the case of like, I don't want to meet my heroes while they're working.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I feel like Richard Lloyd, without Richard Lloyd, you don't have some of what makes television special. I think Verlaine is a huge part, absolutely. But like when you hear Verlaine's records without Lloyd and you hear Lloyd's records without Verlaine, they're not the same. I mean,
right.
It is that should be, but like I feel like there's a magic, and maybe the tension was part of the magic. Maybe that schism, that friction.
And fiction. Yeah, there you go. That was the one of my first downloads, and that's my note here is Serious Attack Mode guitars.
Yes, yeah. I got to see them. It's funny. I just remembered. I got to see them play 2016. They played Hopscotch here in Raleigh.
Nice.
And I think Lloyd was supposed to have been on that tour, but partially, I think he got sick and couldn't do it. And the guy who sat in for him, oh man, what's that guy's name?
Something Rip?
Yeah, Jimmy Rip. That's it.
Yeah.
It was great. So good. But they ended the whole night with Little Johnny Jewel. And it was so good. Just that that like riff, just so much space, and you're just like, sometimes it felt like they were never gonna like come back to it. Like you're just like, okay, there we are. Okay, and even like they were easily 60s, probably 70s at that point. Like it didn't matter. Wow. They were great. It was great. Marquee Moon was great. Yeah,
still had the songs.
Marquee Moon was great. See No Evil was great. It all the feels.
Oh yeah. So did that set lean heavily on Marquee Moon, or did they play tracks from the other two albums, or how did that work?
Oh, it's been a while. I believe it was heavily Marquee Moon. All right. But I feel like they definitely played like Foxhole off Adventure. I mean, depending on which version of Marquee Moon you have, Little Johnny Jewel is on there. I mean, I have one where it's included. I have one where it's not. Whatever. But yeah, I think they did like maybe one off the self-titled, maybe 1880 or so, or whatever that song is, first song. Yeah, 1880 or so. But yeah, it was mainly the hits.
Yeah.
The hits they never had.
It's a solid record. It's a solid record, and definitely one to lean on.
Yeah.
But so like we alluded to earlier, like the Marquee Moon comes out, and it's a very influential album, and the band gets sent back into the studio just 8 months later, and they had they kind of had to do that thing. They had a few songs that got left off of Marquee Moon, which were Foxhole and Careful. Those two they could have been on Marquee Moon if they had the time and to finish them up.
Right.
But they just didn't. So they had two in the bucket to start with, but also in those 8 months they kind of had let's see here, what was it? Glory Days and Ain't That Nothing. Those were kind of in the works. They had like skeletal elements of those. And then they had three that they wrote in the studio for Adventure, which was The Dream's Dream, Carried Away, and The Fire. Dream's Dream initially had the working title of Cairo.
Yep.
And The Fire had the whack name of Yippee Doo. Yippee Doo. I don't know.
As one does.
So
I love a working title.
Yeah, especially when it stays. Like,
yes.
But luckily Yippee Doo did not stay. The Fire is definitely more evocative and atmospheric. So the Andy Johns does not produce the second album. Who does that? Who
oh man, I don't have it right in front of me.
I got a note here. John Jansen.
Yes.
But it's done at Studio A of the Record Plant in Manhattan. So it's done at a nice studio, 24 track tape. But under, constricted circumstances. It's like, okay, we got to make an album. We've got 2 that are done, 3 that are almost done, and we're going to write some shit in the studio.
Yeah. Which, arguably, The Dream's Dream is like, I don't know, it might be one of my, if not my favorite television song. It goes back and forth, but like, that one's a stunner of a track. Like,
oh yeah, it changed. I mean, the whole album is good. I hate to go to the last track first, but it's that important.
Right. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump ahead.
No. I'm happy to start with that because like it really does take you places. It has a kind of a traditional song structure, but then there's just like stop. It like breaks all the way down, kind of like Marquee Moon, like almost a complete stillness, and then there's this bass groove. Doom, 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 doom.
Oh.
And then it takes you to a magical land.
Oh yeah.
It's beyond any kind of genre or any kind of anything. It's just it takes you out there. An Interstellar.
Right.
And this is something that I get this feeling from other types of bands like Miles Davis or fucking Grateful Dead, anything like that. Like there's a lot of improvisers out there, jam oriented groups that take you into that space where you're free associating to the point to where you're not sure like what song is this? What band is this? Like I love that. I love being taken so far out into a piece of music that you don't know where it is that you've come from. And the Dream's Dream definitely achieves that. It gives you a launch pad to those outer reaches of Neptune, to that retrograde art.
Yes. Yeah, I feel like it's like the sister of Marquee Moon, like the song.
It is.
Like I feel like it's in that, like they were like trying to maybe even unintentionally, subconsciously trying to like recapture that same like feeling. Because like you said, like the form is reminiscent for sure. I feel like it definitely like, it's one of those songs like legitimately, like I will listen to that record, it will end and I will just put the needle right back at the beginning of The Dream's Dream and like let it go right again. Just like, yep, let's hear that one more time. Cause it's just like, it's so, it does. It takes you like all these different directions. And by the end, you're just like, I don't care where we're going. I just want to go wherever it is, and it's totally fine. And put me in your car with no windows, Tom Verlaine, and this is weird, but it's okay.
Right. I like the Torn Curtain that has a fade out, and I wish there was like a deluxe edition of this that let me hear the rest of the jam.
Right. Like what happens at the end of Torn Curtain? Like, instead of the last 40 seconds of Marquee Moon, let's get like the last 22 minutes of Torn Curtain.
Right.
What happened there?
But beyond that track, I mean that's the highlight of me for adventure and the most adventurous. Like I think a lot of people maybe don't like his adventure as much because it doesn't have the punk energy of the debut album.
Sure,
it doesn't have the kind of the the dynamism. It's a little more mellow. I mean, not like Tears in Heaven mellow, but it is. It's just more like relaxed.
Yes, it felt like they were more like, I don't know. Maybe they felt like they didn't have as much to prove.
Right.
If that's a thing, like like we gotta be the rock band, or we gotta be the like. Now we're like, oh, this is what television is. Like this is what we do. They had probably a year plus. I mean, there's like a version of Marquee Moon that happened before the one that it got recorded by someone else. I want to say Brian Eno maybe even produced it. That's like the demo version. So like they'd been working on those for a while and also playing shows. So you got, probably a year plus between where they've been working as a working band and like kind of getting their feet under them. And maybe Adventure is more like, hey, this is what we really are. It's not like we're not worried about doing whatever. Even though there's some definite rockers on Adventure. Foxhole being the one that everybody I feel like knows. Because they definitely played that on some, I think there's like some TV performances maybe in the era. But yeah, it's definitely looser, like more chill, closer to the, I don't know, music of the time maybe. That was not punk.
Yeah. Like I made a note about Careful, and I was like, it was like, this could be a TV show theme.
Right.
Like, it's got this, like, I could just see like two guys try to make it in New York City, Tom
Right.
and Richard like playing with their dog in the park,
Right.
But yeah, and it really, like, the intro to Careful, or no, Days definitely has like a very like smooth pop kind of sound to it.
Yes.
And that's what Richard wrote. Like the only
Right.
songwriting contribution Richard gets on Adventure is Days.
Yeah.
And you put that on, and I swear, like I know like at least a half dozen '90s Lilith Fair artists that kind of copied that sound.
Right. Right.
Just, like the mellow, pop rock sound of that time.
Yeah.
But and there's other stuff that is, like you said, of the time. Ain't That Nothing kind of comes across as like a Stones track. It's totally like Rolling Stones, like Exile on Main Street kind of vibe.
Right.
There's a lot of that. It's the angular aspect is not quite as present on Adventure.
Right. Yeah. I feel like maybe they were trying, or maybe Verlaine especially was trying his hand at like, I want to be a songwriter.
Right. Yeah.
Less a like, I don't know, instrumentalist who also writes songs, and like, maybe I'm trying my hand at this thing. I mean, although I kind of feel like he probably felt it was one and the same, but who knows? He was an enigma.
But so the essential tracks on Adventure, obviously the Dream's Dream. That's got to be, but don't listen to it first, because it does have to be experienced as like the final
closer
thing.
Oh, it's
because it feels like a final thing. It feels like you're getting in your spaceship to go to Neptune.
Like now we take off.
Yes. Now we take off.
Yeah.
So it is important to get through the more concise tracks, the Foxhole, Days, Ain't That Nothing, Careful. Those are all like the strongest tracks for me.
Yeah.
Carried Away is a nice one. That's probably the prom theme of this one.
That's the guiding light of this record.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of got that like 50s chord progression, and it's got like the gentle organ, and it really does like make you want to pull your junior prom sweetheart close for a nice slow. The Fire. Oh, that's the one that has like the theremin guitar. That's what I was trying to think of earlier.
Oh, okay.
It has like this Arabic theremin type of sound.
Yep.
But then it has an epic outro as well. It kind of has this Hotel California type of vibe to it. It's like you're through the chord progressions, and then there's just epic guitar solo like lead it out.
Right. Where does that one sit? I don't have it right in front of me. Where does that one sit in the track listing?
The Fire is the first track on the second side.
That's right.
Which, oh, by the way, I wanted to talk about this reissue.
Oh, yeah.
This thing, like, do you hear that? This is the heaviest vinyl I've ever seen in my life. I could build a house out of this. There are 5,000 of these pressed, and I believe I could make a small bomb shelter out of just.
That's the high def, or the
right.
What is it?
Yeah, the Rhino
guy.
Right. Just came out.
HQ or whatever. Yeah. It's a great. I have too many pressings of that one too. But It is a great, like both. I have that same high fidelity. That's it. High fidelity. Rhino high fidelity. I have that same pressing of Marquee Moon, and it's great. I mean, it is, it's different than the OG. I think the OG has a certain thing that it doesn't. Obviously, your mileage may vary because of system and whatnot. I do not have some like $20,000 stereo, so I'm probably hearing like, a quarter of all the differences, but I feel like to my ears it definitely has some rounding of certain frequencies and all that fun stuff, but I mean it's all debatable, I'm sure.
Right. I mean, that's pretty typical. Things,
Yeah.
a lot of technology and a lot of taste change over decades. Like
Right.
things were differently in the 70s, and audiences in the modern day want more bass or more clarity, right, or both.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people complained early on that it wasn't like, again, this is like one of those things like this wasn't what Verlaine wanted or whatever, and it's like I mean, who can say that but Verlaine? And I don't know that he ever weighed in on any of that, because he probably was like, I'm making other music. I made that 35 years ago. It doesn't matter. I think that, like, to my ear, it does sound like they did those exactly what you were saying. Like, I feel like to the taste of the day, I feel like they maybe made it a little, I don't know the exact word, nicer, maybe. Like, it's a little bit more bass heavy. It's a little bit more, like I said, a little bit rounder. Whereas, like, the original is, like, to me, seems brighter. And these are like, I'm talking like, we're splitting hairs here. This is not like, it's not like, oh, it sounds like a wet blanket got dumped over your speakers when you put on the new one. It just sounds a little different. And not in a bad way. Like, if you got that, if anybody was getting a copy, I think when we were talking about this, I was like, if you want a great copy of Adventure, get that, because it's great and you'll enjoy it. It's not people talk about fatiguing listens on your ears and stuff like that. Like, if you play it too loud or whatever, like, I definitely don't think that's going to happen with the high fidelity versions, because I think they're well done. So
it's not Saint Anger.
It is not Saint Anger.
I'll give you ear fatigue. We can do a whole show on ear fatigue.
That, in case you didn't know, kids, was the sound of the Saint Anger snare drum.
People just don't know. They don't know.
I can't wait till Rhino High Fidelity comes out with a new version of Saint Anger, so we can get more.
There was a strange time in music history from 2000 to, like, what, 2015?
Yesterday.
And it was just like, where the hell?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, I think there was only one other really to talk about, and left. The outlier. I have I don't know anything about this one, Ford. Oh, you've got vinyl. That's so great.
I forget who. Oh crap! Who reissued this? It says UMG, but that is not it. But anyways, this came out in, I believe, 1992. Yes. It was a surprise, I believe, to most, although they had been, I think Television had been doing some shows that were like reunion shows, because that would have been 77 to what, 92 is what, 15 years? Is that right? Yeah. Is my math good? No. They were doing some like anniversary shows, I think, for Marquee Moon. It's just kind of like they hadn't been together, so we should rewind, right? They break up not too terribly long after Adventure.
Right.
I think for all intents and purposes, I've heard varying tales that they were basically broken up by the time they finished Adventure, but they did whatever they did, and then they're like, gotta go. Mainly, I think it was as you alluded to, friction between. I did it again. Friction in the foxhole. King, king, king. There's friction in the foxholes between Lloyd and Verlaine about, I think, multiple things. I think they're both pretty hefty personalities. So, it happens. Billy Ficca went and played drums for the Waitresses, I believe is the name of the band.
Right.
Which had one big old hit that was I Know What Boys Like, I think was the name of it.
Oh,
yeah. I know what boys like. I know what guys want. That guy. I think he was the drummer in the Waitresses. Which I think he's in that video and it's really funny. Anyways, and also when I saw them, he had the exact same hair. It was just white.
Oh wow!
It looked like he'd been struck by lightning.
He could. Don't ever let him be in a band with Pat Metheny. The hair there's no way for that hair to
create a singularity.
It would create a singularity. We don't need that. Be like exotic matter, the strange matter, and it would be like too much hair. Don't.
So, anyways, I think they resolve their differences to some degree, and they get back together, and they record self-titled Television with, you can see the same sort of sparseness to the artwork. Whoa, it just disappeared. It is, very distinctly on the back says songs, Tom Verlaine, music, television. So there you go. What does that mean? I don't know. But they definitely went back to like the original thing where like the guitar solos are, Richard's guitar solos are listed and then it says Tom elsewhere. So, all right. I believe they put out a couple of singles. 1880 or so, which is the lead track, is very adventure, I feel like, television. It has a guitar line that's very kind of slinky and kind of, it starts off with a ding, 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 ding. Like it's this kind of happy, like bouncy thing, but then they slowly kind of mutate it a little bit. There's a great version of it on, was it Jules Holland, I think, his show in the UK. I think they do a version of it on there that's, Richard Lloyd is on fire when he comes in for his solo. It's just like, oh wow, he's never going to play another guitar solo, especially not that loud.
They picked a heck of a year to come back.
Right.
Like 1992, this is like alternative grunge kaboom.
Right.
But also like, Guns N' Roses and frickin' Tupac. It was just so much happening.
It's a crazy time. It's almost like the moment that they dropped Marquee Moon in, but like in the 90s version, it's every style of music you could imagine.
Right.
There's coming at you.
Like different sounds, like there's a shift
and away from. I remember hearing 1880 or so a couple of times on what was the station there in Atlanta, 99X. I feel like it was like, somebody there was like old enough and hip enough to know like, hey, television's back, and maybe the kids will like the television now because they like all this other stuff, and Sonic Youth is around, and hey, I think unfortunately it probably just got buried. I think also they didn't do, I could be completely wrong about this, but I don't think they did as much like promotion as like a band probably would have been expected to do had they just been signed. Like, I think probably Capitol, who put this out originally, was like, oh wow, we can get another television record. Like, that's good for, 20,000 copies or whatever it'll sell, and we're totally fine with that. And there's somebody there, probably their A&R guy, was like, man, just to be able to get another television record is like some sort of like jewel in your crown.
Yeah.
And so like, I I don't think they were burning up the tour circuit that much. But all of the like examples live of them playing during that era, I mean, they were still killing it. There's some weird stuff on here for sure. If you've heard any of Verlaine's solo stuff, some of that could be pretty weird, especially because as we moved through the 80s, I feel like the production wasn't that the production was bad in the 80s. I think there was a lot of fun things and good things that happened with the advent of that technology. But I think for somebody that like reveled in the sound of, who seemed like they reveled in the sound of like a guitar turned up, played well off the floor, like probably not the era for that all the time. Yeah. Like they're very processed guitar sounds were like the thing, and I think I think some of that bled over into this even. I mean, it's early 90s, so it's still there. I think Call Mr. Lee is one of the other tracks on here that's kind of cool and mysterious. There's like some like, he kind of tries his hand at like what seems like spoken word hip hoppy sort of thing. That's probably not his shining moment. But you know, we all try to drop a few bars here and there.
Biz Marquee and Chuck D had already committed to other alternative acts, so
that's right.
He just had to rap it himself.
Yeah, we hadn't had the Judgment Night soundtrack yet, so there you go.
No. Oh man, we'll talk about that someday. So is there a guitar epic on this self-titled?
I mean, honestly, it starts with one. 1880 or so is like, I mean, and especially if you see that live version, like they trade solos, and it's just like, yep. That's all I need. Yeah. Like you could have, I don't know if they wrote the rest of this in the studio, but like that one is just like, yeah, I mean, I don't know what magic you guys had to like figure out amongst yourselves to make that happen, but you definitely nailed it first track. By the end of side 2, it's a little taxing. I mean, it's not bad. It's not a bad record by any stretch. It's just like, it feels like maybe they were running on a little bit of fumes. Like, we got back together, we did this thing, we wrote, 3-4 of these songs, and the rest we kind of like figured out as we went. And probably in live form, they were burners. But like, as they're recorded, they're like, yeah, it's good.
What's the running time? Does it have like a super long running time?
No,
like a lot of...
it's pretty concise as I remember.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. There's no track beyond like 4 minutes. Nothing goes above 4:58. So that's for good. Them, very concise.
Right. I mean, that's typical. A lot of stuff from the 90s is people just wanting to fill up that whole 80 minutes. Like, we got to fill up the whole 80 minutes, like we're not confined by vinyl side, so let's fill up the whole 80 minutes.
Right. I mean,
and
yeah,
that does for taxing listening.
Yeah, you go through any of the Melvin's 90s catalog, it's like, whew, man, those are some long songs.
Yeah.
But you can do it on a CD. I mean,
right.
You could let it rip, and I think television was not. They were definitely not throwing out epics at this point, but there are epic parts within. Like I said, 1880 or so. Like the first track is hard to deny as a like. It's that same sort of like, it just kind of grooves along, and it feels super bouncy, and then like the solos happen, and you're like, wow, they are kind of shredding.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, this is crazy. It's kind of like the middle section of, like when it's just the bass and drums coming back in Marquee Moon after like the big first round of solos, that doo-doo, 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 doo-doo. Like it's sort of bouncy and like, yay. It's kind of like that as like the like focus of the song. Like if that were the focus of the song. And so then we get Solo Town. But yeah, I think for like the definitive version, as I know it anyway, is like if you look up the Jules Holland version on YouTube, it's really great. Super fun.
Very good. So for the essential tracks on the self-titled, the 1880 lead off is definitely one of those. And what a couple others?
1880.
Like
I believe the Rocket. It's on side 2. It's track 3. Call Mr. Lee, which is like this weird, like that's like I want to say it's either that one or Rhyme, one of the two, where he does his sort of spoken word. I think Call Mr. Lee is the like it's like almost like this noir detective like tale. Like, but it's very like Verlaine-y. So I'd say like 1880 or so. Call Mr. Lee, and the Rocket would be
nice.
1, 2, and 3.
Good deal.
Yeah.
Well, Ford, I believe that we've finally made it back to the proper timeline. Here, what is it? 2026? Oh God.
Is it?
Yeah. Next year is Children of Men year. I'm not looking forward to that.
Oh no, it is, isn't it? Oh.
It's gonna totally. Only Britain stands tall. Oh, hey.
Oh boy. Well,
baby Diego. God. But anyway, we're back. Glad.
We're back for however long we can be back for.
But until next time, keep on spinning. What's our fucking catchphrase, man?